welcome back to my channel. My name is Kelsey and today we're going to finish a series with one another. So come along, come on. If you've been following along on my channel, you know that I have a series here where I like to finish series. Maybe like 5-6 years ago, I heard about new series and I would just keep adding them to my TBR, and by that I mean I buy them and then I would buy the sequels and then I would buy the finales, and I just never committed to finishing them. But that stops with this series on my channel. And so today's series is the Gilded Wolves trilogy by Roshani Chokshi, and this takes place in 1889, so it's a historical fantasy that follows this treasure hunter named Séverin, and he is contacted by the Order of Babel in order to search for this magical artifact that they need. And to hunt down this ancient artifact, Séverin contacts his trusty band of friends and magical scientifical experts. However, I read the Gilded Wolves 4 years ago, and today is the day that we continue with the Silvered Serpents and the Bronze Beasts. So I will take you back to Kelsey a couple of days ago when I started with the Silver Serpents, which is the second book in the trilogy. Hello, so I'm sure Kelsey from the future is going to do a much better introduction to this vlog, but I am going to be starting the Silver Serpents today. The thing is that I don't really remember what happened in the Gilded Wolves. I remember really enjoying it. I loved what it did for the YA genre. I thought it was incredibly intelligent. It kind of reminds me of the Atlas 6 in a way, and I can remember the gist of it. It's a heist. It involves not alchemy really, but scientific mathematical magic. So my review for the last one was that I was a bit apprehensive going into this because of the mixed reviews, but boy was I wrong. This book was so good. It's a historical fantasy, which I love. Great, thank you, Kelsey. Set in 1889 France, revolving around a group of teenagers who have all developed magic at a young age and work together to solve puzzles and perform a heist against a magical society. This went a step above the usual fantasy I read. I do remember that, like I mentioned, I enjoyed that it was scientifical magic, and that made me think that this was a very smart series, and I really enjoyed that aspect. The solving of mathematical puzzles was an amazing touch that I had never really seen before besides in the Da Vinci Code. I love the Da Vinci Code. I read it when I was 12, mostly because I have always been pretentious and when I was 12 I said, yes, that's what I want to read. And it tackled topics of colonialism and racism so well. I always love when books, specifically young adult books, I think it's really important that these books tackle, or that we read and push forth voices that tackle colonialism and racism, especially in the current oligarchy that is occurring around the world. I keep talking about this in every vlog and every video that I put out, but I think it is an impending issue that we need to discuss at all times. And if encouraging individuals to read books that tackle colonialism, racism, classism, stuff like that is what I can do to help combat these issues and push forth intellectualism, then I will. I have never read from Chokshi before, and I need to fix that ASAP because her writing is amazing. I don't know if I did fix that. I never felt confused, and the characters and the world was so developed. I can gush about how exciting this book was for hours. I will definitely be picking up the next in the series. I can't wait. Oops, when did I read this? 2020. So it's 5 years later. So what I'm going to do is watch a review or summaries for the Gilded Wolves just so I can remember and place myself in the plot, and then continue with the Silvered Serpents. I just need to refresh my mind about what happens. So I will go do that and then start the Silvered Serpents. Just inserting myself for 2 seconds. I use a microphone in the next clip, and I have trouble using it and knowing when I sound the best and how close I have to hold it to my face in order to provide a good sound quality while also trying to eliminate background noises. So it might be a little annoying, and I apologize. It might just be annoying to me because it's me and I will find anything to bully myself. So apologies in advance. That's it. Bye.
Hello, so I'm hoping that I can use this microphone because my boyfriend is in the living room dancing with our son, listening to copyrighted music. So I really don't want to get copyrighted for my boyfriend having a good time with our child. So it's been a couple of days since I updated you. Team Canada won the Four Nations Cup. Thank fucking God, because I've had enough of the US presidency 2 months into the year, and I don't know if I could have handled them winning. I was fed up of the US team. Not my baby, of course, Austin Matthews. never. But anyways, I got 100 pages into the Silvered Serpents. So I read a summary of the Gilded Wolves when I started this book, and also watched a video describing the Gilded Wolves just so I can like re-familiarize myself within the book. And I had to mostly read the ending, obviously, because it's leading into the second book. And we're coming into this book upon the death of one of our main characters from the first book. Also, like, there will obviously be spoilers in this vlog. I hope that was obvious. I'm trying not to be too spoilery in these vlogs, but I'm going to inevitably say some things that will be spoilery. Severin wants to find the divine lyrics in order to help him and his friends become gods. The death of Tristan in the last book really affected him, and he doesn't want that to happen to his friends again. Severin is definitely like the Kaz of this book. So if you read Six of Crows, like, that's Severin's personality. He's very like push away of his friends, but he loves them dearly and would do anything, and that's why these heists are happening. This book reminded me why I really liked the Gilded Wolves, and that's for Roshani Chotsky's amazing writing. It is unbelievable how mythical her writing feels. Like, it's not necessarily metaphorical, it's just purely beautiful. That will always get me. I am a lyrical prosy bitch, and if your book sounds good, I'll probably like it. And that's where I'm at right now. In terms of the plot, they have just caused a heist in order to get the divine lyrics from this mansion of someone who has an extensive art gallery, and this is where the divine lyrics were located. So Zofia, Enrique, and Hypnos were a part of that and trying to get the divine lyrics from there. And then Leila and Severin were at another establishment to fool someone into getting something, and then also getting carriages in order to pick up Zofia, Hypnos, and Enrique in case they got caught, which they did. And now we're just starting part 2, and part 1 ended with their carriage getting exploded. All of them I think are okay, but now they have to obviously escape. So that's what I will be diving into next. Yeah, I've been enjoying it, and I will update you soon. Hopefully I'll have some b-roll. I don't think I took any b-roll for this vlog yet, but we'll see. So I wanted to give an update for the Silvered Serpents because I am within the third part of the novel. I'm at about the 200 page mark, and I'm really enjoying this. I just really, like I said yesterday, love Roshani Chotsky's writing. Like, I just love it. I am eating it up. Everything about this is interesting. I love that at the same time the characters are solving these like riddles and discovering clues and whatnot. I feel like the readers, if they were smarter than me, are able to figure it out. I am not smart enough with riddles to figure the stuff out that's in here, but I do think that you're given the clues, or Roshani Chotsky, in my opinion, is paving things in a way that makes sense and sort of makes it possible to be able to follow along with the characters and be able to solve along with the characters. I think aside from the writing, the most interesting aspect about this series is definitely the clues, the magical system of the book. It just feels smart. The historical setting is just really interesting. We dive into like actual historical figures and actual historical things that are occurring, or the socio-political dynamics that are occurring in history at this time. Obviously, all our characters are people of color, and how that affects how they move and navigate within the world, and also that they are all incredibly intelligent in their own ways and come to the dynamic of this group, bringing forth something that makes them all seem like they need each other, that makes them feel like an actual crew, which I really appreciate. At this point in the book, we have encountered 2 new characters that are part of another group, like family's group. The like elite of this world are divided into like different houses essentially, and we just met 2 new people, and their names are Eva and Ruslan, and they are the children of another house, and they're tagging along with Severin and the group because Eva is the one that she has like a foraging ice magic, and foraging is the like magic system within this book. So because they're going to an ice palace, they need Eva to be able to help them. And we just got out of a scene where Severin was attacked by an ice like animal, and Eva had to help him by foraging the ice, and by doing so she was able to kiss him. And obviously we have a little jealousy moment with Leila, who is posing as Severin's mistress, and so Eva sort of thinks of Leila as not a threat and thinks of Leila as beneath her, because she thinks of Leila as like a courtesan, is that the word? Courtesan sounds like cordyceps, which is not
what's going on in this book. That's the only thing I think I can say I'm not really enjoying. I don't really like when girls are sort of pitted against one another for like the affections of one of the main male characters. Although Layla does tackle this in a way and is sort of not putting the blame on Eva and understands that this is sometimes in a patriarchal society, women are sort of pitted against one another for a male's affection. And I appreciate that Layla did that. She's talking obviously from the position of her work at a like dance entertainment gala thing that she worked at in Paris. Layla is coming from a very interesting perspective, and I appreciate that there is some commentary on that and how Layla is not blaming Eva in any sort of way for what is essentially them surviving in the patriarchy kind of thing. I think that's an interesting discussion, and I hope it dives a little bit further. But Eva so far has been very like surface level about this, and I wish there was just more to that than her wanting Severin's affection kind of thing. I don't think I'll be able to finish this today, but I will likely finish it tomorrow. But I think I'm going to come update you again in another 100 pages just to see where I'm at to end the day.
Sorry for the sound of my breast pumps, but I want to come in here and say a theory that I think Eva and Ruslan are evil in some sort. They're the antagonists, and I think we're meant to trust them because they're working as Hypnos did in the first book, and Hypnos is now working with them as well. But Eva and Ruslan are giving me more antagonist vibes, and I think maybe Roshani Chatsky is relying on the fact that we like Hypnos, that we're going to think that Eva and Ruslan are also in on helping Severin, but I don't think so. And I'm more suspicious of Ruslan than Eva. Eva is meant to be more of an antagonist. She's meant to be more evil feeling, and Ruslan is meant to be more kind. I don't think so. Something's going on here, and I do believe that I am right, so I'm putting this in there as like a preemptive, hopefully I'm right type of clip.
Hello, so I managed to get to page 300 faster than I thought I would. I am now in part 4 of the Silvered Serpents. Still really enjoying it. This last part, while they did discover quite a few things, the relationship dynamics were more developed. So we're seeing a lot more development in their friendships, but also a lot more development in the problems that they're having with one another. So we really see, particularly with Enrique and Sofia in this one, that they are lacking, not necessarily in confidence, but they don't believe that people care about what they have to say. So it's not necessarily that they themselves don't think that they're able to do things, it's just that they believe other people don't care about what they're discovering. In terms of the plot, what we've discovered is that in order to access the divine lyrics, they need a woman with like a seeing touch kind of thing. So they discovered that around this castle there have been missing women and ghosts, the hauntings of this like area. And Enrique brings it up to Rosalind, and he's like, oh, I don't know about that. And I find that to be a little strange, because Enrique's like, even Enrique finds it strange. He's like, wouldn't you know about what the gossip that's going around this castle? And so I think that that's really interesting, because it's causing some suspicion on them, definitely more Rosalind than Eva. But the missing women, we find out, were women that were taken to the lair in order to be able to read the divine lyrics or read the codes. So because she is forged, she has this power that she's able to read these stories of objects, and that's how she discovered that the women in the rooms were not statues, that they were like frozen dead women, which was a very harrowing scene and very meaningful for Layla to discover that, obviously, because Layla is used for her body and for her sexuality. I thought that that was a really interesting dichotomy that was happening there. These women were used for a body part, which was their hands, and now Layla, who happens to also have a power with her hands, may potentially be used for her body once more. And so I think that this is a very interesting thing that Roshani Chosky is using for symbolism, in a sense, of women in this book. So Enrique thinks that potentially Layla will be able to read the divine lyrics because she's able to use her hands to read objects. So I think that that's really fascinating in regards to the plot. Kind of regret not rereading The Gilded Wolves, because I think upon reread I potentially would have given it a 5-star, because there's nothing in this book that is making me not want to give 5 stars to this. In fact, it has inspired a video idea that I have to see if Roshani Chosky could be a 5-star author, or could be a favorite author of mine. I think I'm going to read her 3 other books that she has out aside from this series once I'm done this later in the year. Right now I am going to do some tummy time with my baby, do a little play on the playmat, just to like get his brain moving, you know, and then I'm going to cook supper. We have some friends coming over to meet our baby for the first time, so I don't see myself finishing the Silvered Serpents tonight, but I definitely see myself finishing it tomorrow, because I think I only have like 90 pages left. Yeah, I literally have 100 pages left to read, so I can definitely knock that out tomorrow. So that means tomorrow we will be starting the Bronze Beasts, which is the finale in the series. So I'm really excited about that. So I just finished listening to the Silvered Serpents. I absolutely love this. So much so that I'm going to jump right into the Bronze Beasts, and I'll come update you guys tomorrow instead of tonight. Like I need to start this right away. Hello! So as promised, last night I'm here to give my final update on the Silver Serpents, and dare I say that this was basically a 5-star read. If I had not found some of the reveals to be pretty predictable, so I was right about our main villains in this book, I think it would have been a 5-star read. Like I think if it was a bit more convoluted or the reveal was a bit less like standard typical villainy type of monologue, I would have liked this, I think, a little bit more, because I was captivated by this installment and I never wanted to put it down. Like every time I did, I was craving to pick it up again. The development of the characters, like wants and needs and how they saw themselves in comparison to one another, was just heart-wrenching, and the way that they just love each other and they just want to protect each other. And one of my favorite quotes was from Severin at the end. He says, "I wish my love was more beautiful." Bye. He loves them so much, he just wants them all to be gods and be powerful and protect each other. Anyways, I moved straight into the Bronze Beasts right after that. So this takes place in Italy in the same time frame, so in the late 1800s. They are there to find Séverin, but also search for the divine lyre, which Séverin has.
I realized I forgot to mention that they discovered that the divine lyrics is not real, and it was believed that it was a book because it's a divine lyre, and people thought, oh, it must mean lyrics, must be a book. That's why they were counting on Layla to be able to utilize her hands in order to read it. Ruslan, all on board, everybody was on board with this. Come to find out that it's actually a musical instrument, so a lyre, and it's not Layla that's able to utilize it. It is Séverin. He is a descendant of the family that's able to access the powers of the divine lyre. So that's where we are. I forgot to explain that part.
Séverin and Ruslan are there, and they're trying to find this temple where the divine lyre can be played. And it's underneath Plague Island, and I believe Plague Island is like a cemetery. And so Enrique, Layla, Hypnos, and Sophia are trying to find Séverin in Italy, and Séverin and Ruslan and Eva are there. Sorry for the noise in the background, that's my air fryer. And also Layla only has 10 days to live because she is forged, much like the other elements of magic in this world. Like they don't last forever, so she's a forged being, and so they have sort of like this time frame. Where I'm at now, the group is separated, but not just physically, like also emotionally. They all are kind of shocked by what Séverin had to do at the end of the novel, right? He said his love is not beautiful, he's a monster. Anyways, they like trust him and love him, but they're still very angry at the decisions that he's chosen to do. So that's where we're at emotionally at the end of the Silver Serpents leading into the Bronze Beasts. I can't wait to finish this. My friends are coming over. 2 of them are meeting my baby for the first time. Oh, speaking of him, he just sneezed. So I doubt I'll have a lot of like B-roll or time to read until they leave. So I will update you later. Hello, so I am now halfway about through the Bronze Beasts. I'm still enjoying it. I think I'm enjoying it a tad less than the middle book. I'm definitely like a middle book girly because I love the middle books take the character development more into consideration rather than the plot. Sometimes there are books that have middle book syndrome, but I often find that my preferred books in series tend to be the middle ones because we're focusing more on the characters and their relationships before we dive into the final book that is often more about an engaging plot and more about tying loose ends that we saw throughout the series. So right now, the band is back together. They met up with Séverin. Séverin is still trying to like, also if you can hear my dryer, I'm so sorry. But Séverin is trying to win over his team again. He misses them. He absolutely loves them and wishes that he didn't do what he had to do kind of thing, which was seemingly to betray them. So now they're back together, they're still mad at him, but still thinking of Séverin as their leader and looking to him for the development of this plan. Séverin's main goal is to activate the divine lyre in order to make them all gods, and his main goal is that if they're all gods, they will all have what they want, and that's all Séverin wants. He just wants to protect his friends, which I love. Obviously, I am a sucker for a little bad boy that has a little sob story. My most problematic trait probably, but I eat it up. I love it. We also have a little like romance thing going on with Enrique and Zofia, which I'm really liking because I just see them together more. Like Zofia pays attention to what like Enrique is saying and like values his opinion. I don't know. I just think they're so cute. Right now they are on their way to activate the divine lyre. I'm calling it activate, but it's like Séverin needs to play it, I think, in order to get what they need in order to become gods, right? And they are currently working with Eva. And if you remember, Eva was in the second book and she was with Ruslan. She was his like cousin, he said. And really he was keeping her captive, using her blood forging magic to his advantage. And his plan all along was to use Séverin and his crew to read what he thought was the divine lyrics when they thought it was a book. And now that we know that it's a musical instrument, he obviously wants to use Séverin. So he's been keeping Séverin captive. That was the first third of the book. Now Séverin and Eva are together and Eva has to sort of join the crew and they're a little bit wary of her, obviously, because she was with Ruslan. So they're like, I don't know if we should trust her. We'll see what happens. Hopefully, you know, she doesn't betray them. I really hope not. I'm kind of like counting on her to like be kind. It would be interesting if she does and if she doesn't. So whichever way the story goes, I think could be really captivating. I'm going to continue reading this because I do want to finish this at most tomorrow morning so that I can edit this vlog and get it out, because I have a couple of books that I need to finish just to keep in line with my reading plans for March. So I'm a little bit behind on when I wanted to be done these books. So I'm hoping that I can really finish this today. Like my goal is to finish it today, at most tomorrow morning. If you could just ignore the breast pumps for 2 seconds. I just think it's really interesting that they have at this point killed Ruslan. If he's still alive, I don't know at this point, okay? But they, in my head and their heads, we've killed Ruslan. Séverin is sort of feeling bad for him because he's like, if he wasn't so corrupted by the want of power, he could have been a cool guy. He could have been a normal person. He just wanted power in a sense. And I think that that's a really interesting discussion. And I wonder if Séverin is going to be like self-reflective in that, because that's also technically what he wants, right? He wants them to be gods, or him to be a god, in order to have more time with Layla, in order to save his friends. So I'm curious if Séverin sees himself in Ruslan and that's why he's saying these things, like, oh, he's not actually a bad guy. And I'm curious if that could be the reason that Séverin is thinking these things about someone who wanted him dead and his friends dead, technically. So I just got to page 301, part 5, and if I would have came to you like 30 seconds ago, I would have had very different feelings about this book, but I decided to wait until part 5 to come update you, and I'm so glad I did, because I was fucking right. I knew it. I knew Ruslan could not be dead. I was going to come and complain to you guys. I think the plot is too easy right now because they have literally no repercussions. They killed Ruslan, they trusted Eva, and I was like, something is fucking amiss. And they were navigating themselves through the like dead cemetery. Everything is like full of riddles and mysteries, and they're like flying through it, solving it, zero repercussions after they killed the like patriarch of a fallen house. So I'm like, this is a little too easy. Like, I was appreciating that each of the individual characters were starting to like love Séverin again, or like forgive him, and Séverin was having his like moments to really show each of them that he still loves them, and like everything was going a little too well. And I was like, something's fucking wrong, and I knew it. I knew it. Now I'm at the last part of the book. I need like a breather, I think. In the last few chapters, I was definitely falling asleep. Not because of the book, obviously, because of just being a mother and waking up at odd times of the night. I'm going to take a little nap, I think, unless my child needs to eat. But if he's gonna sleep, I'm gonna sleep a little bit. And then I think I'm going to continue this tonight because I only have like 100 pages, give or take, left before the end of this book. So I'm gonna take advantage of sleeps, just a little nap, or just to like just, you know, lie down a little bit, lie horizontally, and I will probably come back to you later because I will have finished this. Hello, so I just got something really exciting in the mail and I want to open it. Okay, so I caved. I thought this was a lot shorter than it is, but I caved and I bought Dungeon Crawler Carl by Matt Dinniman. I have just been hearing wonderful things about this. It is basically like a RPG but in book form, and if you don't know this about me, I work in video games. I really like video game things. I think I can fuck with this pretty heavily. So the apocalypse will be televised. Welcome to the first book of the wildly popular and addictive dungeon crawler Dungeon Crawler Carl series. You know what's worse than breaking up with your girlfriend? Being stuck with her prize-winning show cat. And you know what's worse than that? An alien invasion, the destruction of all man-made structures on Earth, and the systematic exploitation of all survivors for that sadistic intergalactic game show. That's what. Join Coast Guard vet Carl and his ex-girlfriend's cat Princess Donut as they try to survive the end of the world, or just get to the next level in a video game-like trap-filled fantasy dungeon. A dungeon that's actually the set of a reality television show with countless viewers across the galaxy, exploding goblins, magical potions, deadly drug-dealing llamas. This ain't your ordinary game show. Oh my god. I'm so excited to read this. I really think that this could be a 5-star prediction. Should I do a 5-star prediction video? I think I will. Anyways, I just wanted to show off that I got this. I caved. I got the most beloved fantasy book on BookTube right now. So I just wanted to let you know I got it. Hello, welcome to the end of the vlog, and let's get into my final thoughts on The Bronze Beasts by Roshani Chokshi. And I feel like I didn't really dive into my overall thoughts while I was reading it as much as I did with The Silver Serpents, and that's partly because this is a finale. They tend to focus more on plots, and it's just not something that I'm going to like gag over, you know? Like, I love relationships between characters, I love development of characters, but when it's development of the plot, when it's finishing out a series, I will enjoy my time. I'll have enjoyment reading, but it's not necessarily the things I want to like come and like gossip about, you know? So while I didn't enjoy this one as much as I did The Silver Serpents, I'm still satisfied with this as an ending to the series. Like I said, this finale focused more on tying up those plot points and the overall goals of our characters and what they hoped to achieve over the course of the series. And that is mainly Severin's ending, and it's very melancholy, and if you've read it, you know he achieves this godhood and he appreciates his friendships and appreciates his love for Layla. Choice of having godhood comes with consequences, and he watches as his friends grow and die, his children grow and die, and all this while waiting for Layla for like 100 years. And I just thought that to be like a very good ending for Severin, someone who at the beginning of the story learned to grow and learned to appreciate his friends and had to like sort of face the consequences of his actions, which I really liked. It was just overall exciting to see how the story and the finale of the series was going to unfold. It still felt very National Treasury, which is something that I loved about the first book and made me want to read the rest of the series. And this one I find also really expanded on the magic system. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like there was more magical stuff in here than the previous 2 installments. So at the same time, I also sort of missed the more like scientific, mathematical stuff that I think was charming in the first 2 books. It did feel a tad repetitive as the beats that were being hit were very similar to that of The Silver Serpents, and the twist was kind of easy to figure out. Like, I was excited that I figured it out, but it was there. So all of that made me feel less enamored by it. But like I said, I think the ending is what really made it for me. I loved how we saw each of them thrive in their own ways. I really liked that they each got an individual chapter to really go through their lives after the fact. And obviously Severin and Lila's ending made me want to sob. But anyways, I gave this a 4 stars. So not quite the 4.5 that we saw with The Silver Serpents, but still a really, really, really great series. I'm so happy that I read this series. I wasn't certain if I was going to enjoy this as much as I did The Gilded Wolves. This has made me want to read more from Roshani Chokshi because I just absolutely adored her writing. I think it's so lyrical and beautiful, and at the same time I really enjoyed her characters, and I just enjoyed the overall like themes of the novel, the magic systems. Like, I just thought everything was just so great. So I can't wait to read more from her. So that's it. That's the end of the vlog, and that's it for my finishing of the Gilded Wolves trilogy. If you've read these books, please let me know down below what you thought about them. Did you like them? Did you hate the series? Let me know. And if you would like to follow me on any of my other social medias, I will leave a link down below to my Twitter, Goodreads, and Instagram if you would like to follow me there. As I've been mentioning in all of my recent vlogs, given the state of the world and the billionaires that control our social medias, they might not be there forever because I am feeling a tad icky with them. But if they're still there, you can go in the description and follow me. And of course, because it is the end of the video, please do not forget to like, subscribe, and ring the notification bell. It does wonders for my channel, makes me feel really good. And that's it. I never know how to end these things, so I will see you next time. Okay, bye!